me if I'm wrong, did this night raise the most money out of all the events that take place globally?
It raised the most amount of money ever for the launch of a CEO Sleepout event around the world. And not that we're competitive, and despite our very weakened rand, Johannesburg actually raised more money than Sydney did this year. And Sydney was celebrating their 10th event on the 18th of June.
That's great. Now, what do you hope people take away from CEO Sleepout? I imagine you're going to do it again because it had such a successful launch. How do you hope we move forward with this initiative?
In moving forward, you're correct. We have already started the strategies for 2016. We are aiming, and we're currently doing the feasibility studies in launching it down in Cape Town. So if we do launch in Cape Town, we do hope you will be joining us for a night on the streets. And also to roll out into Durban and Port Elizabeth. Those discussions are currently taking place with Sun International, who are the other joint title partner. And what metamorphosized out of this year's event, which was fantastic, we had a number of schools sleeping out. There were about 10 schools that slept out, so that trademark has been registered as the snooze out. So we're hoping that a lot of school children are going to be partaking in their particular school sleepouts next year, in sympathy for children and homeless children who, as part of their outreach programs. And also what was born out of this year's event was a number of companies, their staff slept out to support their CEO who was on Gwen Lane. So we're very much hoping that this is going to become a national movement of change for South Africa. And as you say, it was successful, and we do have the support of some very influential stakeholders, and that's really the direction we're looking at.
Now tell me about the reaction those school children had when they did the sleep out.
It was fantastic. Again, it touched that core that globally what the project stands for is that we all ultimately, as individuals, are responsible for our neighbors, and we're responsible for our communities, and we are responsible for the future of South Africa. And if we all just take the time just to care for that person that's next to us, ultimately the problems that South Africa are going through are going to be solved, and that's going to start with our children. So it was fantastic to watch the level of empathy and understanding being reached with children, particularly junior school children. So it was very touching.
Now 26 million rand was raised. Where is that money going to go?
Right, this is obviously one of the most important factors. The CEO Sleepout has set up the CEO Sleepout Trust, and sitting on that trust are a number of very important partners and stakeholders of the events, including brands like Nedbank, BDO, Adams & Adams, proudly South African with advocate Leslie Sadebi. That working group and the trust meet with Girls and Boys Town on a monthly basis. The funds raised by the CEOs went directly to Girls and Boys Town, and Girls and Boys Town are now accountable to the trust and the members of the working group as to where these funds are going to be spent and allocated. The 4 pillars to ensure that homeless children are reintegrated back into their communities and ultimately society comprises shelter, healthcare, education, and nutrition. So those are the 4 pillars that are currently being explored by the working group and by Girls and Boys Town. We've added a 5th dimension because the South African landscape is unique, which is community. So again, Girls and Boys Town need to reach out into their communities as part of the 26 million rand spend. So the projects have been defined as legacy projects, and they will be released into the public space during the course of next week.
If anyone watching this video wants to participate in the Sleep Out next year, how can they get more information?
They can follow us across all the respective social media platforms. We are on Twitter and we are on Facebook, and the website address for the main event is www.theceosleepout.co.za. and registrations for 2016 will be opening in February 2016.